In my early 20s, I was working in New York as a banker. I was a successful banker. That was not enough for me, traveling money or making money. I wanted to make something bigger. And I wanted to do something for my country, Brazil. So I decided to pack my things and go back to Brazil. And that's when I joined the Foreign Service. I knew I had a competitive advantage because of my education. I had the languages and I had the concern for international affairs. So it made sense for me to make that change.
Well, having a salon in my home was very challenging. And when I was asked to open a salon at the Taj Samudra, this is early 1980s, it was a new concept in Sri Lanka, and maybe I was one of the first to do so. It was a bad timing, and the country was going through a lot of problems at that time, but I'm glad I took that jump, because from there onwards I have not looked back. I have been expanding, and now I have 14 salons and 3 academies which I'm running at the moment.
I think the bold changes that I have made is to make lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex and questioning persons issues something of a discussion. I think it has put it on the map. People are talking about it now, people are engaging with it right now. 10 years ago this was not the case. 10 years ago there were less people out and proud. Now there are more people out and proud, more people coming out, more people talking about it, and I think that's one of the things that we need in order to make the changes that is very necessary for this marginalized community to live as, citizens of this country without discrimination.
I think getting into politics alone is a bold decision that one could take. And not that many women in this country would get into public life simply because they see public life as a harassment. Some see it as if it's a degrading profession to be in. They feel that it's not a safe environment to be in. Fighting elections are not that easy unless you come with a tailor-made, ready-made voter-base. And there are very few women in this country. I would say like about a handful of women, not more than 4 or 5 women that have basically come through the rank and file. Practically every woman legislator that's in Parliament today. In a house of 225, there are 13 women, out of the 13 women except for 1, which was the case in the past Parliament as well, are all women who have a lineage to politics. They come with a tailor-made, ready-made voter base.
As you can imagine, the logistic and shipping is relatively a man's field, I would say. The bold change that I have done is I have opened the doors for other women and creating a path for them to enter into the freight and logistics.
I think resigning from a well-paid, comfortable job, working for 9 years in a multinational company and starting my own company to help women to find women for right position. That was one of the boldest decisions I have ever made in my life.
Never stop learning, never stop being a student. Learn from everywhere in life. You get many lessons. I think for me that's my biggest message out there. Know your heart, know who you are, and follow what makes you happy.
Be confident and dream big. Never underestimate your potential. You have to be patient and at the same time be willing to work hard at what you want. There's no substitute for hard work.
If you believe in yourself, others will too. Because I think most women are nervous in taking risks, thinking it's a huge mistake if they fail. Then you never end up trying. If you believe, stay focused, and I'm sure success will follow.
Be bold, go for your checkups, don't get scared. because I was scared to get my test done. Then when I was diagnosed with cancer, doctor asked me why haven't I done it before. So if I had done it before, it would have been the first stage. I was diagnosed at the second stage. So be bold and go for your checkups. When you're 30, 35, 40, and if you have a family history, you should go even when you're 20 years.
I think I was single-mindedly, totally focused on achieving. And the word no did not exist in my vocabulary. Never waited to do something tomorrow if I could have done it yesterday. I think that is the formula for success.
For me, medicine is a calling, not just a mere profession. I believe one is successful when you are able to make yourself as well as those whom we are there to serve happy and content. There are enormous expectations from the women of today. And speaking first as a mother and then as a doctor, I believe it is all about maintaining a balance between motherhood, one's family life, and one's professional career.
I listen to my heart, I follow my instinct, I believe in myself.
Today, I believe the main thing that all women need to do to make bold changes is just change their mindset.
Where my animal welfare work is concerned, yes, I have faced several obstacles. It's either people say, oh, she likes animals because she doesn't have children. Oh, she likes animals because she's got nothing else to do. Oh, she loves animals because, well, there's something wrong with her. Or she's a little bit eccentric. Or she's a little bit quirky. So, there we go.
I'm not just an ordinary woman, never have been. And I say this because I'm from an ethnic background. I'm a burgher, I'm a lesbian, I'm a woman. That's 3 strikes against me already in this society, which is highly patriarchal. The fact that I am a lesbian and also working on LGBTIQ issues here in Sri Lanka has caused an enormous amount of challenges to appear, plus a lot of obstacles. Obviously, I've had issues with the whole patriarchal system. I've had issues with who I am. I've had issues with the kind of work that I'm doing right now. And those issues have not stopped.
Coming from a fashion and modeling background, it's been a very catty industry, and unfortunately, us women tend to get the receiving end. So, being in that industry, I've had to learn to build a lot of inner strength. And tell myself that I'm strong enough and I believe in myself, and to push that negativity away.
One challenge in the past which I face is the people tend to stereotype. I am blonde, fair skin, and people tend or like to judge.
Since the art process is an all-consuming passion, it's 24/7, it's physical, it's manual labor, it's emotional, it's mental, it's very exhausting, it's very rigorous. And I think, in the end, one has only one major energy, and that energy has to go to the art. And I think with women want children, husbands, and life. It's very difficult to balance, to find that work-life balance in something like art. And I think that may be why there's not that many women in art. It's a tough, strenuous, dirty job.
I don't come from a business background, so I think everything I built from nothing.
At the age of 17, I entered the Faculty of Engineering in the Colombo University with 500 students. And I was the first girl to enter into the electrical engineering faculty. Then, of course, when I went to England to do my master's degree, once again, I was the only woman in the entire Faculty of Engineering, that is including aeronautical, petroleum, you name it. In that entire faculty, I was the only woman. And I still remember my mathematics exam. I finished my paper in 1.5 hours, and I checked it, it was all okay, and I gave it and went off. And all the boys thought, oh my God, she has come from Asia, dressed in a sari, and didn't have understood anything. So anyway, I kept it up, and the following week, Dr. Prescott came to the class and said, Miss Senanayake, you have got 100 out of 100 for maths. And that gave me a tremendous amount of confidence. I became a lecturer in maths to teach mathematics to the maths honors students.
There were many challenges. Mountaineering is a male-dominated sport, and first of all, I had to wear boots that were too big for me because they don't make boots that fit size 36, which is what I am. The suit that I had to wear, the big suit, the puffy suit, I had to wear a men's extra small suit because they don't have extra small suits for women. They don't even have suits made for women. So this was a huge challenge because as a woman in this sport and a woman who's passionate about this sport, I had to then, the playing field was not an equal playing field, but I had to adapt and change in order to reach the top of the mountain.
Education has been extremely important, and I of course have been someone who really likes the world of ideas. But you must realize that Bill Gates did not finish his tertiary education. There are many leading entrepreneurs that have not finished their university education, not even gone to university. I think Steve Jobs also didn't, head of Apple. So that's not necessary in that sense. But I think basic secondary education is necessary for everybody. But tertiary education is not necessary if you're technically minded or you want to go into entrepreneurship. It's not absolutely necessary. But I think you can specialize in your area and do as you go along. And I think even if you want to just be a housewife, that's fine. Many wonderful human beings are housewives, my mother for one.
I believe that education is not just about passing an exam. It's about the knowledge that you gain, and obviously the skill set, the exposure and the experience and the interactions that you have going through that process. But at the same time, I do have friends in both categories. People who have a degree, who have superseded expectations, and people who do not have a basic education and who have superseded expectations. The line that kind of strings them both together is their confidence and the fire in the belly and their want to get ahead in life and relentless hard work and commitment.
You're talking to somebody who's only had GCE levels. So the rest of it has come because I am street smart and I have a will to do what I want to do. I think that education is important. It just so happens that I'm one of those people who really didn't like to go to school.
I think we have to get the educated about the sickness. So we have to go and do a regular checkup. So after I was diagnosed and I'm as a survivor, what I'm trying to do is now going out of my way to help people, to give awareness about this. So I think from the rural area, the people should go and get their checkups done.
While I think
education starts at home with your parents. Actually, parents are the first role model to a child, and family has a very important impact on the future of the children.
Since we're talking about education, I think it's important to mention the role of the educator. And throughout my years of teaching at the Faculty of Medicine, I have loved teaching, the interaction and the rapport I've had with my students, and despite my busy schedule today, I always find time to be there for them.
You can still be educated and fail in your career, or you can have the minimum education and you can adapt and apply to be a role model. So I think education, in my opinion, is important, but it doesn't have to be a mandatory thing to get to the next level of your career.
Social media is a reality. It has allowed people, women, to speak out, to communicate, to have access to information.
I feel it has brought so much reading material and information to my fingertips, but it's about the choices we want to make. It's about what we want to follow on Facebook or what we want to follow on Instagram.
In my line of work, both professionally as well as where animal welfare work is concerned, it's been of tremendous help where you can actually create your own channel to spread your message.
Coming from VIRTUSA Polaris, we have 86% of our workforce millennials, and we, looking at the statistics, we see that 75% of our workforce by 2025 is going to be millennials. And also looking at statistics about female usage of social media, if you take Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, you have more females using these social media platforms than men. So using those social media platforms in your organization, created within the firewalls of your organization, will definitely help females and males to have equal access to your performance management, to information, to training programs, to linking up with different levels in the organization, a place where they can put their ideas through. So creating this kind of an ecosystem will definitely help women and men to progress in their career and take ownership of their career within that organization.
I find it affects women in many ways. It can affect them a lot of ways. Women tend to take it in a negative way because they look at themselves and compare themselves to the models that they see in the pictures, which is actually a lot of post-production. Fashion is also to sell. So if you're comparing yourself to a fashion model, it's also not right. So you got to be realistic about the whole thing.
Classic recent example, the Women's March. If it wasn't for social media, women would be marching in DC for rights, which we would not know about. Whereas in today's world, all over the world, people were supporting that.
It's how you use it. You can use it as a tool to know what's happening in the rest of the world, to play a role into the global picture. And I think it gives you a tremendous amount of opportunity to the girl or the woman today. And I'm totally using it with Fashion Market and the e-commerce work that I'm doing. But at the same time, it also requires you, if you really believe in that world, to spend some time in that world. And it's beyond borders, and it's beyond the opportunities it gives you to be part of this global picture is phenomenal.
We don't have to like Trump's tweets and Kardashian's posts to know how powerful it is. The largest march in US history was organized very fast and very effectively because of social media. I think it's a wonderful tool, a very powerful tool, and very liberating and democratic, if you like, very direct, so it's fabulous. It just has to be used with wisdom.
The first thing you need with regard to violence against women is, of course, a legislation to say that it is wrong. I remember once when one of my domestic aides told me her son-in-law was beating his wife and her daughter, and I went and I spoke to him, and he said, I said, "You can't beat your wife," and he said, "Why?" And I was so confounded by this. I said, well, the United Nations says you can't, because I think, you expect people to know that it is wrong, but it is not wrong in many parts of the world to beat your wife. Even in Europe, at one point, there was a law that you can beat her with a foot ruler, the size of a foot ruler. I mean, so you have all this, so you first have to say it's wrong, so you need legislation. Then secondly, you need the prosecutors to take this seriously, and the judges. So you need training and cells and all that of the prosecution and the judicial system and the police. And finally, you need a network of support to help the victims.
I think it's very, very important that we listen to women. We encourage them to speak out. We support them rather than vilify them for provocative behavior or clothing. Stop being judgmental. We need to really actually encourage the victim to speak out and not feel shame. I don't know why there is shame. The shame is always, every time, on the perpetrator, where it happens to be an army, a woman, a man. There is no shame for the victim. And another point that I really want to make is that overt violence is what we're talking about, but covert violence is as damaging, is as emotionally destructive, and harder to help, harder to reveal, harder to discuss. But covert abuse is as hideous.
It is imperative to understand that violence comes in many forms. More often than not, we equate it with physical violence. But it's important to remember that it does encompass the emotional aspects as well. Furthermore, violence is not only from men. Sometimes it can be from other women as well. To change anything, it's important to first have an understanding and acceptance of a problem. And I strongly advocate that as a woman, we must always support, uplift, and empower each other.
It starts with your childhood and the education you receive from your parents, and especially from your father when you're a boy. The way he treats your mother, talks to her, as I said before, helps her, supports her, respects her, shows her attention. All that goes along in determining how little boys turn into young men and then young adults, how they will behave, how they will see women, their perception, the way they will act. So this is very, very important for me. Education, parenting education is everything, is the base of everything.
Violence against women is something that we women have to take a stand on, because this is something that is growing. I think society is far too tolerant. I think the law and order system is not adequate to safeguard women, and I think that this is something that we have to do on multi-pronged approach in order to safeguard women.
This is the subject why I'm in politics too. When we talk about violence, there are violence of different forms, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, whether it's depriving someone of somebody's rights. That can all be put into violence against women. In order to change violence against women, we need to look at the root cause. And I think to address the root cause, we need to change the mindsets and attitudes of human beings. We are working on enabling the next generation to think equal. Think equal to me is the answer to violence against women. To be able to think that we are all equal. No matter which color, which race, which nationality, which religion we belong to, or which gender we belong to, if we can be able to think equal and also to have empathy, to be able to respect others, to be able to love others, no matter who they are, what background they come from, which strata of society they belong to be able to think equal. I think equal is the answer to violence against women.
As a young girl, as an adolescent, you have all these dreams. You think that you can change the world, you want to be a princess, you want to be a ballerina, you want to be a fashion designer, you want to be a successful businesswoman, you want to be a wonderful mother. Everything in life is a choice. You have to be responsible for your choices.
I really think this would be that teaching exam that my mom said I should take when I finished my degree. And I wish I did it, because if I did, I would have holidays with my kids and I'd have a teaching job.
And I'm sure I have made many trade-offs. But the key thing is, I can't remember the trade-offs I made, so maybe they're not that important.
In my animal welfare work, which is my driving passion in life, yes, I've faced several difficulties, several problems. I've had to make a lot of sacrifices, if you want to use that word, though I don't see it that way. I'm really grateful to Radhika for having given me this opportunity. In fact, her very first introduction to me was when she came home, and she was flabbergasted when she realized that I had something like 68 cats, 16 dogs, 21 puppies, about 15 monkeys, and 2 tortoises in my home. But yes, every day there are challenges and there are hurdles and sacrifices that I have to make when it comes to my animal welfare work.
At the beginning of my career, I just didn't have any time for my friends. But now that all my kids are grown up, I think I'm catching up on that.
As a breast cancer survivor, I think I'm given a second chance to live. I want to take that and support the people who need to be positive and to help them to go through their hard times.
My trade-off is my family and friends. Since I'm a single mother who's divorced, and it's always has been that I have to prove things to get it done or to be delivered. And I have done it successfully because I believe in myself.
Leadership guru that I greatly admire, Michael Cooley, he says, success is actually a failure if the outcome was not worth the cost. And for me, I truly believe in that, and everything is in moderation, and I've actually never traded off anything.
You don't necessarily have to tread on anyone's toes, or you don't necessarily have to sacrifice one thing for the other, but it's really all about balance, and it's all about not pursuing perfection. You know, it's about making things work in the best possible way you can, and I think then that really does not require a trade-off.
I feel I have not had any trade-offs, thankfully, and I believe we don't need to if we believe that what we are doing is something we always enjoy doing it. I've enjoyed my work as a women's rights activist, and I've enjoyed climbing, so Mount Everest has actually brought both things I'm passionate about together into one day in that sense.
I am disciplined. I am accomplished.
I am demanding.
I am empathetic.
I am committed.
I am a giver.
I am free.
I would like people to say that I'm compassionate.
I am focused.
I am genuine.
I'm stronger than you think.
I am intuitive.
I am real.
I am Radhika.
I'm a survivor.
I am meticulous.
I am for the voiceless.
I am woman.
We at Ladies VIP Night believe in empowering women, because if you give women aid, they help their families. If they help their families, then that in turn helps the community. And if you make a stronger community, then I believe that builds a stronger country. We hope that the role model inspiration has helped to provoke a thought, to encourage you to make a difference and be bold for change.